Hey guys, it's Penelope in London. What I'm doing, we're looking at the chart of now. So whenever you see it, it's the chart of now. But in the UK, it is be the 14th, 15th of May. And what we have is that we have Mars, which you can see here, which is square to Chiron. So I want to look at that. But the other thing that we have is that Jupiter has just moved into the sign of, you can see here, of Pisces, just literally. If you go here, follow my, let me find my pointer. And I show you. So this is what's going to happen. And I'm going to show you solar fires. So just bear with me on this. But we've got Jupiter. It's literally just gone into Pisces. And Jupiter takes 12 years to move around the chart. It orbs. It's on a 12-year cycle. And it goes retrograde every year. And that will be going retrograde. I'll tell you, we'll look at the solar fire to do it properly. But it's basically about 2 months that it will remain in the sign of Pisces, and then it will go retrograde. But Jupiter in Pisces, what it does, we're getting a taste for this, is that it forms a place where we're hospitable and friendly, and it's also where our nature is more charitable. And we can see actually how important that is right at this time that we've got, with what's going on in the world. We've been on lockdown and we've been under pressure. And with Pisces, the ruler is Neptune. And, we've got Neptune actually in Pisces for the coming few years. But when we have this Pisces, Jupiter, it's likely where we're going to help each other, like, where we castaways of society. There's also like where we're angels of mercy and we'll help anybody, and we'll help each other with our spirits, to lift our spirits. And, also where people are suffering. So we really need this at this time because of what's going on. If we look in London, we've got another possible, we were coming out of lockdown and it looks like that's going to be halted somewhat because there are variants and, nobody really knows what the score is overall, where we're heading with this on a time scale. And I know that myself, I've done quite well through this period of time because I've been doing definitely was very aware because of my astrology and the inner work that I've done on childhood trauma, my own traumas. I understood that I had to look at myself. And Chiron is here in the sign of Aries. So we're going to look at Chiron in Aries with the Mars, which is really important. Jupiter. So if we go back to that, it's to do with our spiritual nature, and it's also occultism. It's where in Pisces, where we can be also too obliging, and also where we may have others expecting too much of us as well. So it can swing the other side here, that we don't want martyrdom and become martyrs. As a result, with this, we could be, if people want too much from us, and, we could be distrustful, also suspicious of other people's intentions, because people may exaggerate their troubles in a slightly distorted way. So whilst it's good that we'll be out there wanting to help people in any way we can, I do it on Zoom. I have a few free meetings a week for ladies where we talk about the inner child and codependency trauma. So I help people, but we've got to watch out. We need to be balanced, because all planets the archetypes will swing either way. We know that with Pluto, Pluto can be very powerful in a very healthy way, but it can also be powerful in a abusive way, like the abuse of power. So much to say, not that it's powerful in that way, but it can be used that way. So with Jupiter, we can be in a situation where, whilst we want to be charitable and in our nature, there may be people that may take advantage of us. So we have to have balance through this period and be mindful. It's also, where we may feel misunderstood and sensitivity, because in Pisces, we've got the archetype of the fish and the oneness and the spirituality. And also it's very divine here, Jupiter. Jupiter, it can be so beautiful, but at the same time it can be grandiosity as well, and dogma, because it's to do with our spirituality, it's to do with religion, it's to do with truth, and it's to do with law. Sagittarius, because it's linked with Sagittarius. and we don't want to be disappointed. So we have to balance ourselves as this goes through, you know, not be too much of a wanting to save other people as well, you know, to be balanced in that, you know, not to go the codependent side of it. And what you would do then, if on your own chart, you would look at how that's aspecting. So I know for me, this aspect of Jupiter is currently will move back to 22 degrees, and it's going to move back and square my ascendant, and it's going to also square my descendant. So we've got to see how this plays out for us individually. This is the collective chart. So with this Chiron, which is going on, we would have felt this pressure. I'm going to, you know, this pressure of Mars would have been, you know, here, it would have been in Gemini, and then it would have moved on into the sign of Cancer. So let's move over to Solar Fire. I'm going to share that. So what you have, let's go back by days, and I'm going to show you spotlight come out of that. So we're going to go back by days. Today is, you can see here, the 15th of May. This is the UK. So we're going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. So we could say that at that point, Chiron was at 10 degrees. So if we go back one more and we say that it would have been 5 degrees, we've been feeling this for a while, because as Chiron was here at 10 degrees, then we have Mars, which would have been moving on, not applying so much that it's, you know, but it's sort of becoming total 10-10, you know, 10 degrees, then it becomes 10 degrees, that became a square. So what is going on for us? Let's see what else it's doing here. We've got some sextiles going on there. You can see that, and whether Mars is included, we shall check that out in a moment. But if we look at Chiron in aspect to Mars, and I'm looking at Melanie Reinhardt, and there's something else I want to read to you as well about, you know, the idea of Chiron in aspect to Mars. With Chiron in aspect to Mars, it's Melanie Reinhardt, by the way, our challenge is to discover and honor our particular kind of warrior energy. We may have been wounded by negative and destructive expressions of the Mars principle in our early environment. If the home environment was like a battlefield of open or concealed warfare, we perhaps decided, I'll never be like that, you know. So we can do this right now. It's like, you know, we see what's going on in the world and we can think, I'll never be like that. And as a result, we basically don't stand up for ourselves. She goes on to say here, and growing up dreading further eruptions of destructiveness. So when we dread confrontation, then, and we don't confront things, then this can stall us. And particularly with that Mars, you know, in Cancer at the moment, if you look at here, Mars is in the sign of Cancer. So we've got Chiron in Aries, which is really wounding. And the ruler is Mars, actually, of this Aries. So it's very connected in. And then we've got it in the sign of Cancer, which is water. And if you think that if you think of the crab and how it's got its claws and how it will, you know, feel emotional, and watery emotions, like water, the way it moves, it sort of, you know, goes all over the place, so backwards and forwards. And it's doing, you know, it's not stable enough to sort of handle. I'm not saying that people with Mars in Cancer can't handle things, but it's just understanding the emotional aspects of this, because in Cancer, the moon is involved as well. Where is the moon at the moment? The moon right now is, let's see, it's in Gemini when I looked a little while ago. So the moon, we can see, oh, actually the moon is in Aquarius. I've done the 3rd of May. Oh, that's right. No, I've gone backwards. I'm just reminding myself. Okay, so I've gone backwards there. So we'll go forward again. 1, 2, 3. We're going back to the 15th. I lost myself for a moment. So 15th. So we can see, good, because I knew the moon was in Gemini, because the moon has just gone over my natal moon, because my natal moon is 17 degrees of Gemini. And so now this is squaring for me at my MC, and it would have just hit my Pluto. So I had a couple of funny hours earlier when that happens for me, when the transiting moon squares my natal Pluto. I always feel it so deeply, because Pluto's Scorpio as well. So with Chiron Mars aspects, if we grow up afraid of confrontation and unaware of our own anger and willfulness, we could fall foul of others' aggression. If we are carrying a burden of angry feelings from past situations, we might also have an exaggerated sense of our own destructiveness and control ourselves carefully, imagining we need to protect others and also ourselves. We then tend to pass the buck or give our power away in a manner described by the signs and houses surrounding our Chiron Mars. So if you look in your own, what houses these are happening in for you, for me, this is in my 8th house, which is to do with, shared resources and such an intimacy. And my Chiron is currently in my 4th house. It will be going into my 5th house soon. I'm pleased about that, or maybe not, but we'll see. But it's been in my 4th house for a long, long time. So for me, in my 4th house, that's to do with, my sense of security. And again, the ruler is the moon. So you look at the rulers when you're looking at these things, to dig deeper into astrology. Let's see what else Melanie Reinhardt says. So about passing the buck. And then for basically, we want to use our own initiative with this. For example, with Mars in Libra, as she gives us an example, and Chiron in Cancer, we could descend into feelings of helplessness. So she's saying with, if Chiron was in Cancer, we could descend into feelings of helplessness. Chiron in Cancer, to avoid personal confrontations or making decisions. Mars in Libra. So we want to look at the houses because it's going to take it deeper for us. So now let's go to what I wanted to look at. Was I've got a beautiful book that is called The Key to Self-Liberation, and I want to bring this into what I'm talking about now. So this was basically about, self, because this Chiron in the sign of Aries is about self. It's about healing self. It's like if you're on an aeroplane, the mask comes down, we take the air first, because when we take that air first, then we're available to help other people. And we've been so wounded in society that it's very interesting that this is taking place whilst Chiron is in the sign of Aries, that the virus that's going around, we've basically been in a position where we've turned inwards to sort of understand ourselves. We've been given this time. Not every single person has been given the time, but many of us have been given the time to explore what our wounding means and to become aware of it, because disassociation has been removed. We may have have other problems like anxiety or panic and stuff like that, but we've been given this time, downtime, and it's not over yet by the looks of it, not particularly in the UK anyway. So let's look, if we said from this book, which is The Key to Self-Liberation, and it says here by Christine Bierlant, and this is a beautiful book, and I'll put the link below. She mentions on the body, so this is like the psychological causes of bodily and the bodily symptoms matched. And there was something I was looking up for myself earlier, which is personal, but the remedy she puts a remedy in for each thing, that each physical thing that we have. And the remedy that was suggested to me was, your deeper self knows it already. Trust and let go. Try not to force or grab with your thoughts. That which should follow its own course. No longer fight or fret. Make a choice, leave others free, express your energies outward, and don't stand still. In the contentment of the present, you are allowed to expect everything that is good for you for the future. So basically what she's saying is trust. Trust is really important, because trust will banish nervousness. So when we trust, we go around in a nervous state of worrying about what's going to happen, and we carry all of that in our body, like the way we'll hold ourselves, like we can really get tight in the body, and not breathe in a whole fashion, like we can be breathing from not using our whole body. So if we can trust that we're safe right now, even though we don't know what's going on, and continue to work on ourselves. And also this Mars will be moving off in the coming days. So I'll show you here that it's currently at 12 and Chiron is at 11. So let's go forward 1, 2, 3, then it's 14 in 3 days. Then 1, 2, 3, then it's 16, it's moving off. 1, 2, 3. And then by the time it gets to 18, it's, you know, it's moving off. But then what it's going to do is it's going to move in, and it's going to be in opposition to Pluto. And the other thing on that day, on the 24th, that's going to happen is that Saturn, you can see up here, is stationed to go retrograde. And as Saturn stations, and we've still got here, we've got Jupiter in Pisces, as Saturn stations, it's going to go retrograde and go over old ground. And that's going to, and this, I'm going to actually show you the Jupiter and how long that's going to be in. We're going to go weeks. So watch this Jupiter. I'm going to show you how long it's in Pisces for. So 1 week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 5 weeks, 28th of June, actually. So 6 weeks. And then what it's going to do, it's going to go retrograde. And watch this. It's going to go retrograde 2 degrees. And we're going to go ahead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it's back in to the sign of Aquarius. And that's around the beginning of August. And then it's just going to go back to 22 degrees. Can you see that up there? Jupiter. And it's going to hit my true Lilith, which will be fun for me. There. So then it's retrograde, and then it stations on the 18th of October, and then it goes forward again. And then by the end of the year, the end of December, it will be back. It will be back into the sign of Pisces for a good year. So that's it for today. If you've got any ideas or questions or anything you'd like me to look at with the chart work, then just leave a message below and I will come up with, I'm going to be looking at this Mars up when it crosses over Pluto or opposition to Pluto. So if we go back, I'll tell you when that's going to happen. So 26, and it's 26. So this is, you know, this is literally 3 weeks away, 7th of June. So 3-4 weeks away. So that's something I will be looking at soon. And then on top of that, on the 26th, we have of May, we have the lunar eclipse. So that's something in Sagittarius as well. I can't remember the degree off the top of my head, but that's, you know, I've got a lot of work in progress here. Okay, catch you later. Thanks for watching.